The withhold credit comes out on.
What did you say it was?
Withhold credit time served.
You know I'm not dropping anything.
No,
Okay.
it was just a plea. Okay. That was the offer from him. He didn't drop anything.
The Creole interpreter needs 2 minutes. Sure, we can do the move up. I didn't know about the other one, Jordan.
The one that's
Who's counsel? Who's the private? I take it up at 7:30. I don't have a move-up list at that point. I mean, I'm happy to do it right before court.
Please state your name.
Yeah.
James Howard Darden II.
Oh, this was the one that we were going to try to plea from yesterday?
Who is this?
Darden?
This is a felony warrant. For some reason, it was moved up, but no, there's a violation
Oh.
of probation, Your Honor.
Okay. It was an on view.
This is James Darden, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is he here for the initial appearance on the,
On the VO.
He's here for VOP as well as a new misdemeanor case.
okay, so, Mr. Darden, you've been charged with disorderly intoxication and resisting an officer without violence. You do qualify for a public defender. I'll appoint the office of the public defender to represent you in the new law violations as well as your, violation of probation. So for the new violations, I'll stay the bond, 500 count 1, 100 count 2, and on the VOP, I'll set bond at the amount of none.
Did she say 600?
It is in the, it's actually over in the out-of-county warrants.
Oh. I don't,
Yeah. Darden's here on a violation of probation as well.
It says violation of probation.
Yeah, he's on
that's what I
state
have as
probation.
well. I don't-
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. Because I think this is the one that was over here, and I thought it was weird that it was over here.
Number 669-000, that's an interstate.
So PTR, why did you think it was a VOP?
It's in our system as a violation of probation. I can double check DOC's website as well to see if they are or not. Yeah, it is an interstate case, but he is on felony probation, being supervised here in Florida. So that's why it was a VOP. He's not on parole, he's on state probation. It's an interstate.
Ms. Eugene, do you have anything to add?
I do not, Your Honor. I have no information. As I said, on my paperwork, it's listed as a violation of probation, so
Mine's as well. I don't,
I do apologize. Yeah, and I'll double check, but I don't believe.
Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just roll it till tomorrow, and so we can all look into it. So obviously, if he is being supervised in Orange County for probation, then we need to address it. If he's not being supervised in Orange County, then there's nothing for us to do if it's interstate. So we just need to make sure that we investigate that a little bit further. So, Mr. Darden, on the violation of probation, I'm gonna roll that to tomorrow. All right, thank you. Please follow the officer out the door. Yeah, bring in Miss Willett. We'll get that done, and then we'll do the Creole. I'm sorry, what? Willett. Okay, all right, then let me call the Creole interpreter.
Good morning, Your Honor. This is Peresno Leon, certified Spanish interpreter. I have been previously sworn.
All right, Mr. Leon, the Creole interpreter was supposed to be picking up.
Very well, Your Honor. You may call back. I'll let the office know.
Okay, and then after that, I'm gonna need you, but, okay, I'll hang up and call back for the Creole.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. This is Judge Caraballo. Who am I speaking to?
This is Isabel Rocher. I'm the Creole interpreter.
Have you been sworn in yet today?
I have not.
Okay, Madam Clerk.
Do you solemnly swear to truly translate from Creole to English and English to Creole the testimony about to be given, so help you God?
I do.
All right, if you'll please ask the defendant to put the headsets on.
Okay. Madame, mettez casque na tête ou? We're ready, Judge.
Please state your name, ma'am.
Qui j'en relais, madame?
Really, Anosia Renard.
Qui j'en?
Anosia Renard.
My name is Anosia Renard.
All right, Miss Renard. All right, Miss Renard, you've been charged with battery, domestic violence. You didn't fill out any paperwork. Did you want to see if you qualify for a public defender?
Pardon?
Moi, pas connais exactement.
I don't know exactly.
All right, you've been charged with a serious offense, and a public defender is provided if you cannot afford your own attorney. It's highly recommended that you have an attorney help you through this process. It can be confusing procedurally. attorneys are trained in the law and they can assist you in all aspects of the case. You won't receive any special treatment if you represent yourself.
Moi, avocat pour vous.
I want a public defender.
All right, ma'am, do you have any income?
No.
No.
All right, I find that you qualify for a public defender. I'll appoint the office of the public defender to represent you. Do we have any witnesses here on Ms. Renard's case? No, no one indicated. Great, ma'am, I reviewed the affidavit and I do find probable cause. You do qualify for pretrial release. That's a program that's run by the Department of Corrections and, or Orange County Corrections. And it allows you to be, it was an update, Ms. Eugene.
I was going to take your word for it, Your Honor, but thank you.
It allows you to, it allows you to be released from incarceration without having to post a monetary bond. And the conditions are that you have to comply with the program, including meeting with the pretrial release officer at least on a in-person, at least once a month. Did you want to participate in that program?
Oui, pas de problème.
Yes, no problem.
All right, I'm going to order that you have no contact with the victim. I understand it's your daughter. I don't know if you reside together, but you're going to have to maintain a separate residence. You may return one time in the presence of law enforcement officers to retrieve your personal belongings. You may not possess any weapons or firearms. If you have any, you must turn them in to the Orange County Sheriff's Office within 4 hours of your release from incarceration. And I'm going to order you released under PT.
And I did,
Your Honor, may I have the case number?
Case number is 2023 MM173280.
173280. Thank you.
All right, ma'am, you may remove your headsets and follow the officer out the blue door. All right, thank you, Madam Interpreter. That's all we had for the Creole.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Bye. Are we doing Spanish? No? No, there's no Spanish. Oh. Never mind. All right, Fennel?
Fennel still outside medical.
All
we
right.
reset 24 hours from return of the hospital, I believe, outside medical.
You still think you're gonna be able to get him to plea? Because I can just stay the bond.
Yes, Your Honor, the problem is he's not here. He's in, when they say medical, a lot of times they're at the hospital. I just don't want him to have to sit here if he can't post the monetary bond, which is why I say allow him to return.
All right, well,
The
we'll try
bond is
it.
still set regardless.
Well, we'll try it again. You want to do Thursday morning? I think
Yes,
that-
Your Honor.
Well, okay, we'll try it for Thursday. Please state your name.
George West.
All right, Mr. West. You've been, are we gonna, this is one we're gonna plea out? Is that from yesterday?
The, Your Honor, as to the new charge, 23 ML 34180, the offer from the state is an adjudication of guilt, credit time served, and in the out on bond 2023 MO 0680, the offer from the city is a withhold, credit time served, and a $10 filing fee. And Mr. West would like to accept the state's offer and enter a plea of no contest as to both charges.
Mr. George, are you under the Mr. West, are you under the influence today of any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would impair your thinking?
No.
Is anybody forcing you to enter into these plea agreements today?
No.
Do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, entering into these plea agreements will subject you to deportation?
Yes.
Are you currently on probation for any other offense?
No.
Are on the charge of an open container and possession of drug paraphernalia, how do you plead?
No contest.
And on the charge of open container alcoholic beverage in the 2023-341 case, how do you plead?
No contest.
I'll accept your plea of no contest in each of the cases. In 2023 MO6AO, the open container and possession of drug paraphernalia, I'm going to withhold adjudication on both counts, give you credit for time served, assess the mandatory court costs and filing fees. And in 2023 MO341AO, I'm going to adjudicate you guilty, give you credit for time served, and assess the mandatory court costs and filing fee. As to all the financial obligations, I'm going to reduce those to a civil judgment. All right, Mr. West, you can follow the officer out the blue door. Please state your name.
Anthony Allier.
All right, Mr. Allen, you do qualify for a public defender. I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. You've been charged with grand theft, third-degree battery, and assault, both domestic violence. This is by a warrant, so a judge has previously found probable cause. I don't see anybody here on your case. On the grand theft, I'll stay the bond at $1,000. You do qualify for a pretrial release. That's a means to be released where you don't have to post a monetary bond, but the requirements are that you comply with the PTR program, including meeting with an officer in person on a regular basis. Did you want to participate in the PTR program?
Pretrial release, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to order that you have no contact with the alleged victim, that you maintain a separate residence. You may return one time in the presence of law enforcement officers to a shared residence in order to retrieve your personal belongings. I'm going to require that you not possess any weapons or firearms. If you have any, you must turn them in to the Orange County Sheriff's Office within 4 hours of your release from incarceration. I see that there's a shared child in the report. If DCF is involved, I'm going to require that you comply with any requirements of DCF. State, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right,
So just to be clear, Your Honor, it's pretrial release as to all counts.
PTRs all counts. Please step forward and state your name. All right, Ms. Camacho, you qualify for a public defender. I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. You've been charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. I don't see your husband here to testify, so I'm going to order no contact, maintain a separate residence. You may return one time to any shared residence in the presence of law enforcement officers to retrieve your personal belongings. I'm going to require that you not possess any weapons or firearms. And if you have any, you must turn them into the Orange County Sheriff's Office within 4 hours of release from incarceration. I'm assuming the machete was already taken into custody. If you have any others, you must turn them in. And I'm going to set bond in the amount of $2,500. Please state your name.
Homer Granera.
All right, sir, you didn't file any paperwork. Did you want to see if you qualify for a public defender?
I have a lawyer.
You have a private attorney in both cases, in your other case?
I hired him for that case, not for this case.
All right, do you want to, see whenever you say this case, are you talking about the new law violations or your,
So I had to hire him for the domestic violence case.
okay. Do you want to see if you qualify for a public defender for these new drug charges?
Oh, yes, please. For right now, until I could talk to him.
Okay. Do you have any income?
I do.
How much and how often?
I make about, right now, it went down, so I'm about $3,000 a month.
3,000 a month. Do you have any dependents?
I don't have dependents, but I do pay bills at the house.
Does that qualify? All right, you don't qualify for a public defender.
Okay.
All right, so you've been charged with possession of alprazolam, possession of cannabis, less than 20 grams, possession of drug paraphernalia. I'll stay those bonds. And you also have a violation of a PTR condition on a domestic violence case. So I'll revoke PTR. And,
So they did not.
is that different than the MM? Because he's on bond on the MM case. What's the PTR?
Your Honor, as far, as a friend of the court, I guess, the alprazolam, we did not have PC for. I don't see where the officer, looked up the pill.
I thought he said he tested it.
I didn't,
Let me go back and look at it.
he tested the other drugs, I don't see the pill.
Well, the defendant said it was Xanax.
He said, where? I know, I saw it. Oh, okay. No, that was a powder.
We all make arguments, but we don't know.
Okay, so, I think that's sufficient for probable cause if he admits what it is, right?
I would argue that it's not, Your Honor. We have clients that admit that a drug, they possess a drug, and once it's tested, it turns out it is not a drug. If you look, he also tested a white powdery substance that turned out not to be any type of drug. So based on that, I would argue no PCS to the Xanax. Merely because my client states it is Xanax does not mean that it is an actual drug.
Your Honor, I'm going to say that it would be a statement against interest, and therefore, yes. If he says that it is Xanax, and Xanax is the same thing as alprazolam.
I think if for purposes of probable cause is sufficient, obviously at trial, the state would have to prove that it actually was that drug. But for purposes of PC for the arrest, I think it's sufficient. All right, and then, so the other one is it's a new violation, it's a new case for the violation of a PTR condition.
Why was it a CF and not an ML? Interesting.
All right, so in that one, I'll set bond in the amount of $5,000. And also in 2023 MM 1151AO, I'm gonna revoke your bond and set bond in the amount of $7,500. And all the conditions of the original MM still apply. That's no contact with the victim, and no contact means you can't, use any social media, go in person, and any of the other requirements that the judge imposed in the case remain in effect. All right, please follow the officer out the blue door.
Thank you.
Please state your name. Please tell me your name, sir.
Emmanuel Menyos.
Mr. Minus, you do qualify for a public defender. I'm going to appoint the office of the public defender to represent you. You were arrested under a warrant, so a judge has previously found probable cause. I reviewed the arrest affidavit, though, for purposes of the bond consideration. I'm particularly concerned about the facts of the case as alleged by the officers. I'm going to stay the bonds on the burglary of an occupied conveyance and aggravated battery as set by the judge of $10,000 on count 1 and $7,500 on count 2. The battery by strangulation, domestic violence, and battery domestic violence. On those, I'm going to set bond in the amount of $10,000 on the first domestic violence and $2,500 on the second one. I'm going to require that you have no contact with the alleged victim, that you maintain a separate residence. You may return one time in the presence of law enforcement officers to any shared residence in order to retrieve your personal belongings. I'm going to require that you not possess any weapons or firearms, including any tasers or stun guns. If you have any, you must turn them in to the Orange County Sheriff's Office within 4 hours of your release from incarceration. State, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
You may follow the officers out the blue door. Please state your name.
O'Neill Robinson.
All right, Mr. Robinson, you do qualify for a public defender. I'm going to appoint the office of the public defender to represent you. You've been charged with aggravated assault with a firearm, domestic violence. And if you'll please raise your right hand to be sworn in.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Ms. Eugene, you may inquire.
I can speak.
No, wait. Good morning, ma'am. How do you know the defendant?
That's my boyfriend. We've been together for 5 years.
Do you live together?
Yeah.
While this case is pending, do you want to continue living together?
Yes, because what actually happened was that I have this thing with him, like when he gets upset, I hold the phone up and I'm like, I'm gonna call the police, like to get him to calm down. And that what actually happened yesterday morning. I didn't know the phone was actually on call. But then when I heard the dispatcher trying to get my attention, I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call, and I hung up. But I already had the idea they was gonna send somebody anyway, whatever. But
So you do want to have contact with him?
yeah, because like we never had like this, I never had this problem with him before.
Okay, all right.
Like, and then far as the firearm thing, he did not pull out any firearm on me. That's the only reason why I really cared. I'm like, I don't want him to get a charge at something he didn't really do.
Okay. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
All right, so ma'am, you weren't afraid that you saying that there wasn't a firearm being waved around and you weren't in fear that it would accidentally go off and shoot you?
No.
That didn't happen.
No.
Okay. All right, based on the testimony, I'm going to require no hostile contact. I'm gonna order that you not possess any weapons or firearms. If you have any, you must turn them into the Orange County Sheriff's Office within 4 hours of your release from incarceration. And I'm gonna set bond in the amount of $2,500.
How much is that? Yeah, see, I don't know. I know. Like, how much is that?
I don't know, man, you'd have to talk to a bonding company, I don't know how much you actually have to post. All right, thank you for coming in, ma'am, I appreciate your time. Please state your name.
Midland St. Laurent.
All right, Miss St. Law, you do qualify for a public defender. I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. You've been charged with aggravated battery. I reviewed the arrest affidavit. I do find probable cause. There's nobody here to testify. I'm going to require that you have no contact with the alleged victim, that you maintain a separate residence. You may return one time in the presence of law enforcement officers to any shared residence to retrieve your personal belongings. I'm going to require that you not possess any weapons or firearms. If you have any, you must turn them into the Orange County Sheriff's Office within 4 hours of your release from incarceration. I'm going to set bond in the amount of $2,500. Please state your name.
Anaya Bradford.
Ms. Bradford, you do qualify for a public defender. I'm going to appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. You've been charged with battery, domestic violence. Sir, if you'll please raise your right hand to be sworn in.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
You may inquire, Ms. Eugene.
Good morning, sir. How do you know the defendant?
My daughter.
I'm sorry?
My daughter.
If you could speak just a,
My daughter?
thank you. And do you live together?
Yes.
While this case is pending, do you want to continue living together?
I don't even want to press charges.
So is that a yes?
Yes.
And I'm going to paraphrase, you also want to have contact with her. Has something like this happened before?
No.
Were drugs or alcohol involved in this incident?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
All right, and Ms. Bradford, you do qualify for a pretrial release. Dad, would you have any objection to her being released under the PTR program?
No, but what does that involve?
It's so she has to comply with all of the requirements of the program, including meeting with the PTR officer on a regular basis in person.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right.
She wanted pretrial release.
Okay, so I'm going to order no hostile contact. I'm also going to require, Ms. Bradford, that you not possess any weapons or firearms. If you have any, you must turn them into the Orange County Sheriff's Office within 4 hours of your release from incarceration. The arrest affidavit indicated that DCF was contacted. I'm going to require that you comply with any conditions of DCF, and I'll release you under the pretrial release program. Thank you for coming in, sir. Okay.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Please state your name.
Madison Willett.
Counsel.
Good morning, Judge. Matt Boomershine here with Miss Willett.
All right, Ms. Willa, you've been charged with shooting by information, shooting, throwing into an occupied vehicle, accessory after the fact, first-degree felony. Right, and it was charged by information, so there was nothing for me to review, but, State, do you have a recommendation on the bond amounts? I see that the co-defendant got $50,000 on the,
I'm good with that, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Boomershine, did you want to be heard on the bond amount?
Yes, Judge, if I could be. Ms. Willett was previously charged with these offenses in juvenile court, so the case has been proceeding in juvenile court. She's got no prior record. She's never been charged with any offenses as a juvenile or an adult. Ms. Willett's been cooperating with the state attorney's office. She actually submitted for a full proffer. The state intends to utilize her as a cooperating witness in testifying in the co-defendants' cases. The state direct filed after the petition was filed in juvenile court, in part because they were trying to achieve a longer length of jurisdiction. There's already conversations underway about a probationary resolution of her charges in exchange for the testimony she's proffered, and that's what we're anticipating. My understanding is that Ms. Worrell reviewed the case and was concerned because she has just turned 17. There's limited jurisdiction in juvenile court for her to be under supervision or to be on probation for any extended period of time. I think there was concern that that jurisdiction might expire while the co-defendants' cases were still pending. I think that's part of the reasoning for the direct file. She's been on home detention now for, I think it's been about a month that she's been on GPS monitoring on home detention with her parents. We learned of the direct file last week, and as soon as the warrant became active, we've been monitoring it on a daily basis, and as soon as it became active, Ms. Willett came to the jail last night to turn herself in. I actually accompanied her here to the BRC last night about 9 o'clock with her parents, so she surrendered herself on that warrant. Judge, she's not a flight risk. She's not a danger to the community. She's charged as an accessory after the fact to the shooting. She's not alleged to be the shooter. She's not alleged to have ever possessed a firearm or been involved in that. Bail is already set on count 1, which is the shooting into an occupied vehicle. It's set at $2,500, which is according to the bail schedule of the Ninth Judicial Circuit. That bail schedule also calls for, when there's an additional charge, the bail schedule calls for bail of $150. These are 2 second-degree felonies that she's charged with. Count 1 is already set at $2,500. We would ask that the court just follow the bail schedule and set bail at $150 on count 2.
All right, well, the bond schedule doesn't apply to me at IAs, but I appreciate that. Anything else you want to add, Ms. Eugene?
No, Your Honor. No, Your Honor. This was set for second session. Council asked for this to be moved up. I do not have any record of anything that was stated. Obviously, he's an officer of the court, so I'm not disputing that. I don't have any record of that. So I would just ask that, again, based on what she's charged with, I agree to the $50,000 bond, Your Honor.
And so is the home detention and GPS monitoring continuing, or because now it was direct filed, what happens to those that the juvenile court ordered?
So she was still on the GPS monitoring when she reported to the jail last night. In fact, she was wearing the monitor on her ankle when she submitted here to the jail. She brought with her all the charging equipment and all the paraphernalia associated with that monitor. Did they take it off last night? They removed that from her when she came into the jail. Judge, actually, one of the things I talked with her family about last night was I was not sure whether they would put that back on her when she posted bail here and then force her to return to the Department of Juvenile Justice and have that removed. I don't know if they'll keep it here and return it directly to its owner. I don't know. But obviously, if the court feels that continued GPS monitoring would be appropriate, then we'd be happy to submit to that judge. She's been following those rules and doing an excellent job while she's been on release here for the past month. And if that's necessary to make sure we keep this bail affordable for her, then she'd be happy to submit.
And are her parents still inclined to keep her under home detention?
They are, Judge. We've been in great communication with the parents, and they were here last night for the turn-in as well. And I have no doubt that they'll continue to supervise her. Whether the court orders it or not, they've been very involved, and we have great communication with them.
All right, so I'm going to order that you have no contact with the co-defendant. I'm going to order that if you are able to post bond, that you continue with the home detention and the GPS monitoring under whatever program you are doing it when you were charged as a juvenile. I'm going to stay the bond at $2,500 on the shooting, throwing into an occupied vehicle. The accessory after the fact, first-degree felony, I'll put it at $25,000. Your co-defendant got $50,000, so I'll do it at $25,000.
Judge, regarding the GPS monitoring, I don't know that the Department of Juvenile Justice will
Continue it.
only because there was a petition filed in juvenile court, but obviously now it's been direct filed, so that subsumes the juvenile case. I believe that case will close, and I'm not sure that DJJ will assume jurisdiction for continued monitoring. So I might suggest that if the court's intention is to keep her on GPS monitoring, that perhaps we do that through these cases instead of through DJJ.
I don't think we have it here in Orange County, so, okay, that's why I was just gonna do it under the juvenile, but I understand what you're saying. All right, so if it's impossible for her to comply because the juvenile system says we're not going to continue it, then I'll delete it. If it is a possibility to continue it under the juvenile, then we'll continue it. Does that make sense? Is that too wishy-washy? You don't know how to comply with that?
No, here's my concern. I don't know that the Orange County Jail here, because she walked in with that monitor on,
Right.
they've removed it. I don't know
They
that they
already
have the
turned it in.
capacity here to even put it back on her.
Yeah.
And I don't know that they'll be willing then to turn her loose without it if it's a condition that we've imposed.
Okay, I'll delete the GPS monitoring. We'll do the home detention. No contact with the co-defendant,
So Judge,
no weapons or firearms.
is it the court's intention that she be on house arrest effectively? The home detention process in juvenile court involves the Department of Juvenile Justice supervising a set of conditions involving her remaining at home on GPS monitoring. I believe it also involves parents. She's allowed to be out when she's with parents for certain things like school functions. I understand there's, I think, a detailed list of restrictions, but it's all supervised, almost like PTR would be by DJJ. And again, I don't know that they're going to be inclined to continue supervising her without an active CJ juvenile case underway.
We don't have anything like that in big boy court, right?
I do not believe so, Your Honor, no.
No, okay. All right. Well, then I'll delete the home detention and the GPS monitoring then, because it doesn't sound like it's something that we can do in adult court.
Okay,
I don't believe that we have a similar program.
all right. And so it'll be the bail as the court has scheduled with the condition of no contact with the co-defendants.
No weapons or firearms. If she has any, she must turn them into the Orange County Sheriff's Office within 4 hours of her release from incarceration.
Yeah, I don't believe there is, Judge. I think that was a condition of her juvenile release as well. I think that's already been addressed.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge. It was good seeing you. Thank you again for calling the case this morning. I appreciate you guys calling this up. Thank you, State, for your willingness to hear it.
Good morning, sir. Please tell me your name.
Renzo Daniels.
All right, Mr. Daniels, you do qualify for a public defender. I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. You've been charged with battery, domestic violence. I don't see anybody here. I'm going to order that you have no contact with the alleged victim, that you maintain a separate residence. If you share a residence, you may return one time in the presence of law enforcement officers to retrieve your personal belongings. I'm going to require that you not possess any weapons or firearms. If you own any, you must turn them into the Orange County Sheriff's Office within 4 hours of your release from incarceration. The arrest affidavit indicates that alcohol was involved. I'm going to require that you not consume alcohol or drugs that have not been prescribed to you by a doctor. And you do qualify for the PTR program. Would you like to be released today under that program? It's a program that's run by the Orange County Corrections. It allows you to be released from incarceration without posting a monetary bond, but you have to comply with all of the conditions of PTR, including meeting with an officer on a regular basis in person.
Yes, ma'am, I take that. I didn't do anything, but I take that.
Okay, now I'll release you under PTR. Please state your name, sir.
Jose Flores.
Mr. Flores, you do qualify for a public defender. I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. You've been charged with battery, domestic violence. I don't see anybody here in your case. I'm going to order that you have no contact with the alleged victim. I'm going to order that you maintain a separate residence. If you share a residence, you may return one time in the presence of law enforcement officers to retrieve your personal belongings. I'm going to require that you not possess any weapons or firearms. If you have any, you must turn them into the Orange County Sheriff's Office within 4 hours of your release from incarceration. I do see that DCF was notified, so I'm going to also require that you comply with any requirements of DCF. And you do qualify for the pretrial release program. Did you want to be released under that program?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, we'll release you under PTR.
And Your Honor, it looks like he might return to or move to Pennsylvania upon his release. Could you just put in the order that it's okay if he does have
All
to
right.
reside out of state?
Mr. Flores, if you're going to reside out of state during the pendency of the case, the court will allow it. Just have to stay in contact with your attorney and make sure you make all of your court appearances.
So she said you can't maintain contact.
Please step forward and state your name.
Damon Jacob.
Mr. Jacobs, you qualify for a public defender. I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. You've been charged with battery, domestic violence. Ma'am, if you'll please raise your right hand to be sworn in.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Eugene, may I inquire?
Good morning, ma'am.
Hello.
How do you know the defendant?
That's my boyfriend.
Do you live together?
No.
While this case is pending, do you want to have contact with him?
Yes.
Has something like this happened before?
No.
Were drugs or alcohol involved in this incident?
No, ma'am.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, and ma'am, Mr. Jacobs does qualify for release under the pretrial release program. Would you have any objection to him participating in that program?
No, ma'am.
All right, and so, Mr. Jacobs, did you want to participate in the PTR program? All right, I'll release you under PTR with the conditions that you have no hostile contact with the victim, that you not possess any weapons or firearms. If you have any, you must turn them into the Orange County Sheriff's Office within 4 hours of your release from incarceration. Please tell me your name.
Estrella Lamore.
Ms. Lamore, you do qualify for a public defender. I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. You've been charged with battery, dating violence. Sir, if you please raise your right hand to be sworn in.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I swear.
Eugene, you may inquire.
Good morning, sir. How do you know the defendant?
She's my girlfriend.
Do you live together?
Yes, ma'am.
No?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. While this case is pending, do you want to continue living together?
Yes, ma'am.
And you want to have contact with her?
Yes, ma'am.
Has something like this happened before?
No, ma'am.
Were drugs or alcohol involved in this incident?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. I have no further questions. Thank you.
All right, and based on the testimony, I'm going to order that you have no hostile contact and that you not possess any weapons or firearms. If you have any, you must turn them in to the Orange County Sheriff's Office within 4 hours of release from incarceration. And in your out on bond case, I'm going to revoke and double those. So count 1 will be 10,000 and count 2 will be 2. And the bond in this case will be $1,500.
2,000, Your Honor?
In this case, it'll be $1,500. In the other case, out on bond, I'm doubling them. Count one will be $10,000 now, and count two will be $2,000. Thank you, sir, for coming in.
So how much would that be, 1,000? Or is it 10% of that? I'm sorry.
Please tell me your name. All right, Ms. Melendez, you do qualify for a public defender. I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. You've been charged with battery, dating violence. There's no victim here, so I'm going to order no contact with the alleged victim. Maintain a separate residence. If you share a residence, you may return one time in the presence of law enforcement officers to retrieve your personal belongings. No weapons or firearms. If you have any, you must turn them into the Orange County Sheriff's Office within 4 hours of release from incarceration. You do qualify for the PTR program that's run by the Corrections Department. It allows you to be released without posting a monetary bond. But you have to comply with all the conditions of the program, including meeting with an officer on a regular basis in person. Do you want to participate in that program?
Yes.
Okay, I'll release you under PTR. Please state your name.
Jasmine Villamil?
Ma'am, you do qualify for a public defender. I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. You've been charged with stalking, battery, and trespass in an occupied structure or conveyance. I reviewed the affidavit and I do find probable cause. I'm going to require that you have no contact with the victim. That includes calling, texting, or trying to have somebody else call or text the victim. Means you can't go anywhere near where he works or lives. I'm going to require that you maintain a separate residence, even though you didn't live together. I'm still got to order that. And I'm going to require that you have no weapons or firearms. If you have any weapons or firearms, you must turn them into the Orange County Sheriff's Office within 4 hours of your release from incarceration. On the stalking charge, I'm going to set bond in the amount of $5,000. And count two, I'm going to set bond in the amount of $150. And count three, $150. Sir, please step forward and tell me your name. Mr. Bates, you're here under a warrant issued by a Seminole County judge, and the judge in that case has set bond in the amount of none. We'll notify Seminole County that you're here, and they have 24 hours to pick you up. If they don't pick you up in 24 hours, then you'll come back to IA's, and I'll set a bond at that time.
Okay, I'm already out on bond on a VOP for that case. So did that get revoked?
I don't know. All we have is in the system that the officers use, there's a bond, there's a warrant signed by the judge. So I'm not exactly sure what happened. Do you have an attorney in that case that you can call and figure out what happened? All right, well, we let them know you're here and they'll have 24 hours to pick you up. If they don't pick you up, then you'll come back to me and I'll set the bond. Please step forward and tell me your name.
Janoris Kilpatrick.
Mr. Kilpatrick, you're also here on a bond out, on a warrant out of Seminole County, and the judge in that case has set bond in the amount of none. So we'll notify Seminole County that you're here. They'll have 24 hours to pick you up. If they don't pick you up in those 24 hours, they'll bring you back to me to set a bond.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Please follow the officer out the door. Please step forward and tell me your name.
Eric James Labataglia.
Mr. LaBattaglia, you're here from a warrant out of Osceola County, and the judge in that county set bond in the amount of none. We'll let Osceola County know that you're here. They'll have 24 hours to pick you up. If they fail to pick you up, then they'll bring you back to me and I'll set a bond.
Okay.
All right, please follow the officer out the door. Please tell me your name.
Christopher Martinez.
All right, Mr. Martinez, you're here on a fugitive warrant. Looks like it's been issued from Buffalo City, Buffalo. You're being held on no bond, and you'll be visited by our fugitive warrant team, and they'll talk to you about extradition. All right.
Be visited by
It should be today, or, yeah, it should be today. They're really good about it. All right, please step through the door and wait, follow officer. Please tell me your name.
David McCoy.
All right, Mr. McCoy, you're here on an out-of-county warrant. Is VC, is that Volusia County? Is that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, yeah, the judge in Volusia County set bond in the amount of none. We'll let Volusia know that you're here, and Volusia County has 72 hours to pick you up. If they don't pick you up in 72 hours, then you'll come back before the IA judge for a bond.
Okay.
All right, please follow the officer out the blue door. Please state your name.
Jody Thorson.
What happened to Ireland?
I'm sorry?
Who is this?
Who? Is that?
I don't have her.
What's her book?
No, I don't have
You don't
her.
have her.
I don't have her at all.
We don't have her either.
I was told that I didn't have to come either, just because I was out on bail and bond, and I have a hold supposedly for ankle monitor. But that
Yeah,
technically
her-
isn't valid either, but
She's
I was,
paid all her bonds and stuff in Polk. I'm sure we're just waiting on PTR paperwork. And then, yes, she has a GPS.
I technically don't have that, so my lawyer's working on that.
But she's paid her bonds.
Okay, yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, please step forward and tell me your name.
Eric James Ireland.
All right, Mr. Ireland, did you want to be represented by the Public Defender's Office in your violation of probation proceeding?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll appoint the PD for the VOP. Judge Harris has issued a warrant for the violation of probation. She set bond in the amount of none, and you're scheduled for a VOP arraignment in jail on 3/16. Please tell me your name.
Marley John.
All right, Mr. John, you do qualify for a public defender. Would you like the Public Defender's Office to represent you in the violation of probation proceeding?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, it was Cheek below, so that's RCC, right? Is it Attorney Cheek with the RCC?
Yes.
Okay, so it'll be their regional conflict counsel. But so this is an on-view BOP for a new law violation? I'll set bond in the amount of none.
And we are appointed, correct?
Yeah, well, yeah,
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Because we'll conflict off or whatever the issue is.
okay. Please tell me your name. All right, Mr. Knight, you do qualify for a public defender. Do you want them to represent you in the violation of probation proceeding? All right, I'll appoint him for the VOP. Judge Wooten issued the warrant for the violation of probation, and he set bond in the amount of none. And you're scheduled for an in-jail arraignment on 3/16.
What judge?
Wooten. Please tell me your name, sir.
William Larson.
All right, Mr. Larson, did you want the Public Defender's Office to represent you in the VOP?
I have a private attorney.
You have a private attorney, okay, and he'll continue, or she'll continue to represent you in the VOP?
Say it again?
You want your private attorney to represent you in the violation of probation proceeding?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Judge Strobridge has issued a warrant, and she set bond in the amount of none, and you're scheduled for an in-jail arraignment on 3/16.
Anthony Tippett.
No, I have Nordic next. All right, please state your name.
My name is Christopher Nordic.
You didn't file any paperwork. Did you want to see if you qualify for a public defender for the VOP, or do you have a private attorney?
I have a private attorney.
And they're going to represent you in the violation of probation?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Judge Jewett issued a warrant for the VOP, and actually, I see that your attorney already did a notice of appearance and waived the arraignment. So you'll be set for a VOP status in Judge Steve Jewett's courtroom on, yeah, you do. Jewett, it's a misdemeanor.
VOP status is April 11th at 8:30, courtroom 4B.
Do I get like a bond or do I have to do like a bond?
Judge Jewett has set the bond in the amount of none, so your attorney would have to file a motion on your behalf.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ms. George, and to save my voice, if you'll just call out the 33s, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Curtis Williams, 23 CF 1771, notice of non-filing granted. I apologize, I'm getting emails at the same time. Isaac Manuel Gago, 23 CF 1051, denied, information was filed. Theodore Earl Sherrod, 23 CF 1841, granted, notice of non-filing. Reese Etheridge, 23 CF 1846, denied, information was filed. Giovanni Capistani, 23 CF 1814, denied, information was filed. The first of Mr. Hodges' many, Anthony Hodges, 23 CF 1901, granted, notice of non-filing. Mr. Hodges again, 23 CF 1897, granted, notice of non-filing. Mr. Hodges again, 23 CF 2255, denied, granted, notice of non-filing. Anthony Hodges, 23 CF 787, granted, notice of non-filing. Anthony Hodges, 23 CF 2256, denied, information was filed. Anthony Hodges, 23 CF 1898, granted, notice of non-filing. Anthony Peterson, 23 CF 279, granted, notice of non-filing. Elijah Lofton, 23 CF 1769, granted, notice of non-filing. Anthony Hodges, 23 CF 1900, granted, notice of non-filing. Anthony Hodges, 23 CF 1902, granted, notice of non-filing. Alturia Collins, 23 CF 1912, denied, information was filed. Daryl Pettis, Your Honor, can you tell me what date is on the order with regard to the 33rd day?
3/16.
Then it can be granted as long as the defendant isn't released before the 16th, Your Honor. And then for the add-ons, Jason Davis, 23 CF 1308, granted, notice of non-filing. And Vinard Norris, 23 CF 1676, denied, information was filed.
Thank you. All right, we're off the record.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This is Ricardo Morales, Spanish interpreter. I have been previously sworn.
Good afternoon, Mr. Morales. Is Judge Caraballo, the defendant, has the headsets on?
The interpreter is connecting, Your Honor.
Sí.
Your Honor, the interpreter can confirm there's connection.
All right, sir, please state your name.
Mi nombre, Luis Matos.
Elmer Jimenez Matos.
All right, Mr. Matos, you do qualify for a public defender. I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. You've been charged with disorderly conduct. Are we going to resolve this today, or you weren't able to because they're Spanish?
Because he was Spanish, Your Honor, I would like more time for him to speak with the attorney.
Okay, all right, I'll stay the bond at I'll find probable cause, stay the bond at $250. And, Mr. Matos, Miss George is giving you a piece of paper, and they'll have an attorney from their office who speaks Spanish to talk to you about the offer from the state, so that you can make an informed decision. All right, sir, please remove the headsets and follow the officer out the blue door.
And Your Honor, may the interpreter ask for this case number?
Case number is 2023 MO349AO.
Thank you very much.
All right, ma'am, please state your name.
Nelly Marlene Argueta Lopez.
Nelly Arbeta Lopez.
Argueta Lopez.
All right, ma'am, you do qualify for a public defender. I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. You've been charged with operating a motor vehicle without a valid driver's license. And I'll stay the bond.
Could you, please advise the client, not to speak about any of the facts of the case? Today, we're here only, for the purposes of informing you of the charge you are arrested for and which conditions of bond, release conditions, excuse me, you would, have in this case. I circled the attorney's phone number where you can speak one-on-one about any issues or defenses you may have to the alleged crime.
And Ms. George, if you can let the Spanish-speaking attorney know if they can't post bond and they want to plea, I'll gladly take the pleas tomorrow.
I will, Your Honor.
Sí.
So, Your Honor, in this particular case, I know the bond is set, but I don't believe the client can post the bond. Could we just reset this case for tomorrow so I can have somebody speak Spanish to her?
Sure, and I resolve these all the time at arraignments. It would be a withhold credit time serving court costs.
Thank you.
We'll do it in the afternoon session because it'll be. Yeah.
My apologies, Your Honor. May the interpreter ask for this case number?
Case number is 2023 CT 1765AO.
Thank you very much.
It's okay if it's in the morning, Your Honor, because our Spanish person comes early in the morning for domestic violence, so.
Please state your name, sir.
Juan Robles Ramirez.
Juan Robles Ramirez.
All right, Mr. Ramirez, qualified for a public defender. I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. You've been charged with aggravated assault with a weapon and battery. I reviewed the affidavit. I do find probable cause. I'll stay the bonds. I'm going to require that you have no contact with the alleged victim, witnesses, and no return to the Checkers restaurant. He's going to need the case number.
Case number is 2023 CF 3255AO.
Please state your name, sir.
Leifred Oropesa. Leifred Oropesa.
Leifred Oropez.
I don't have a sheet on him. That's not what he said. Tell me your name again.
Leifred Oropesa.
Leifred Oropeza.
I thought you said Lopez. Okay. Did he qualify for a public defender? I'm looking for Lopez. I know it's a failure to appear, but I don't know if the PD was previously appointed. Okay, so Mr. Oropez, you're already represented by the Office of the Public Defender. This is Judge Navarro issued a capias for your failure to appear, and she set bond in the amount of none. Please remove the headsets and follow the officer. And he'll need the case number.
Case number 2022 CF 7911AO.
All right, that's it. Thank you, Mr. Morales.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Have a great day.
All right, sir, please state your name. What did he say? I can't hear anything. All right, Mr. Brodus, are we resolving this today?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. All right, Mr. Brodus, you were charged with disorderly conduct. Are you under the influence today of any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would impair your thinking? Is anybody forcing you to enter into the plea agreement today?
No.
Do you understand if you're not a United States citizen, entering into this plea agreement will subject you to deportation?
Yes.
Are you currently on probation for any other offense?
No.
On the charge of disorderly conduct, how do you plead?
No contest.
I'll accept your plea of no contest and the negotiated agreement is,
I don't have the case number, I'm sorry.
2023 MO 346AO.
Thank you. And the agreed upon sentence was an adjudication, 20 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 2 and court costs. Mr. Brodus would like to accept and enter plea of no contest.
All right, Mr. Brodus, I'll accept your plea of no contest. I'm going to adjudicate you guilty of the offense. I'm going to sentence you to 20 days in the Orange County Jail and give you credit for 2 days' time served. I'm going to assess mandatory court costs, which I'll reduce to a civil judgment. All right, please state your name.
Jose Gonzalez, Your Honor.
All right, and I believe that Mr. Gonzalez has a private attorney already. He's entered an appearance.
Yes, Your Honor, I saw that.
All right, and so, the first one is, that's a capital offense, right? That's a PBL?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, so the bonds were already set so I'm gonna stay the bonds as set in the, it was an indictment. And the judge already set the bonds, and I'll stay them. So you're not eligible for bond on the first offense. And then the second count is $10,000, count 3, 10,000, count 4, 10,000, count 5, 50,000, count 6, 10,000, count 7, 10,000, count 7 was 1,000, count 8 was 1,000, and count 9 was 10,000. It's first-degree murder resulting from distribution, drugs, trafficking, dangerous fentanyl, sale, delivery of fentanyl, trafficking, possession of controlled substances with intent to sell, possession of cocaine, possession of firearm, ammo by a convicted felon. Please follow the officer out the blue door.
I didn't know, sorry.
Please state your name. I had Anna Hammett.
Can we move them to the back of the docket, Your Honor, because there's an offer to resolve. They're bringing them up.
Okay, and this is Kassar? All right, Mr. Kassar, this is your arraignment.
We're gonna, oh, I don't believe he has an attorney on this case, Your Honor. We're not reviewing the case. Which case?
Well, he's not, they're not in the arraignment thing. Where are they?
He's a traffic arraignment?
Is it? No, there's no attorney.
Oh.
I have no idea. Because I don't see an attorney, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, so Mr. Kassar, did you want to be represented by the Office of the Public Defender?
Yeah, you don't have an attorney.
Do you have any income?
No.
No? All right, I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender. You've been charged with driving while licensed, suspended with knowledge.
We're going to enter a plea of not guilty, Your Honor.
Okay. Oh, wait, these are. Okay, so that's his first Duelis. If you did want to resolve it, it would be withhold of adjudication. I'll do a $250 fine, mandatory court costs, and I'd merge and dismiss the TR as part of the plea agreement. I'm showing that it's his first Willis.
I'm just gonna check. I saw a ton of other charges, which is what my hesitation was, Your Honor.
Oh, that's right. Didn't he pick up a felony at the same time? Yeah, so,
He has, also the failure to provide proof of insurance, the next arraignment as well.
The judge said that she would dismiss that.
yeah, I was
Oh,
gonna
okay,
merge and
that's the one
dismiss
you
it
were
as
referring
part
to.
of the plea.
He didn't. I just saw a bunch of other charges. If we could, push him back so, we can have a chance to speak with him about the offer, Your Honor. We'll just set him at the end of the arraignments. I'm just gonna have my.
Okay.
Speak to him, because I wanna make sure he understands. But you would offer withhold credit time served, and then the fine of,
Well, he doesn't have any time served. He's not in jail in this case.
or withholding 250 was the.
$250 fine, mandatory court costs. I'd merge and dismiss the TR as part of the plea.
Okay. We'll just, no, let him-
That's the reason for the fine.
Okay, so we're gonna enter a plea of not guilty, Your Honor. We just noticed there's an eval pending in his other case.
Okay, no problem. It'll be set for a pretrial conference in Division 83 on. The TR follows the CT.
So both cases in Division 83. Pretrial is scheduled for April 3rd at 8:30, courtroom 6C.
Please step forward and tell me your name.
Sean Michael Davis.
And there is a plea to resolve the case, Your Honor, of an adjudication of guilt, credit time served. And he would like, Mr. Davis would like to accept the state's offer and enter a plea of no contest.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Davis, are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would impair your thinking?
No, Your Honor.
Is anybody forcing you to enter into this plea agreement today? No. Do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, entering into this plea agreement will subject you to deportation?
I understand.
Are you currently on probation for any other offense? No. On the charge of resisting an officer without violence, how do you plead?
No contest.
I'll accept your plea of no contest. I'm going to adjudicate you guilty of the offense. I'm going to give you credit for time served of 25 days and assess mandatory court cost. And as to the financial obligations, if I give you 6 months to pay that off, is that sufficient?
Yes.
Okay, that's what we'll do.
Battery supposed to be, that's supposed to be like thrown out.
Yes.
Am I handling both?
No.
I need to handle all the.
Can't. You can't, but yeah, they do.
No, that just the one. Sorry, Mr. Davis.
So I'll be released? Thank you.
Thank you. I don't think you're Tina Gilbert.
I think they went to go get her as well, Your Honor.
Okay. Is this our John Doe? All right, sir, do you want to tell me your real name?
He has been identified, Your Honor.
Okay, who is he?
His fingerprints have cleared. His last name is Donhauser. Donhauser. First name Kyle, Kyle.
All right, Mr. Donhauser, you've been charged with trespass on property after warning. You qualify? All right, did you want to see if you qualify for a public defender to represent you in this matter? Yeah, actually, I can't, so this is being recorded and they won't know what a nod is. So I need you to actually tell me yes or no instead of nodding. Do you want to see if you qualify for a public defender?
I know I do. I know I do.
Okay, do you have any income?
Man, should be all right. I don't know.
All right, I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. I'll stay the bond at 500. I'll find probable cause based on the affidavit and require that you not return to the Sweet World Market at 5135 International Drive.
Go.
I'm gonna, let me see. On mental health.
Yes. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Which one was that?
Keller?
It's a waiver.
All right, I'll appoint the PD, find probable cause, stay the bond, no return to 3518 Cobb Road.
Isaiah Pierre bonded.
Okay, thank you. Here. I don't have a gallery.
What happened to Galloway? Bonded?
Thank you. Please state your name, sir.
Derek Prescott.
All right, Mr. Prescott, you've been charged with trespass on property after warning. Looks like we're going to resolve the case. What's the agreed upon resolution?
Yes, it's an adjudication of guilt, credit time served, and no return to 626 Lee Road. Mr. Prescott would like to accept the state's offer and enter plea of no contest.
All right, Mr. Prescott, are you under the influence today of any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would impair your thinking?
No, ma'am.
Is anybody forcing you to enter into this plea agreement today?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, entering into this plea agreement will subject you to deportation? Are you currently on probation for any other offense?
No, ma'am.
On the charge of trespass on property after warning, how do you plead?
No contest.
I'll accept your plea of no contest. I'm going to adjudicate you guilty of the offense. I'm going to give you credit for time served. I'm going to assess mandatory court cost. Is your client transient?
Ma'am.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'll reduce the financial obligation to a civil judgment, and I'm going to require that you not return to the Quality Inn located at 626 Lee Road.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, please follow the officer out the door. Please step forward and tell me your name.
Jonathan Smart.
All right, Mr. Smart, you've been accused, you've been charged with trespass on property after warning and possession of drug paraphernalia.
Your Honor, I would ask for an ROR. He has no criminal history. He will likely qualify for the pretrial diversion program.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, I'll appoint the public defender, and I'll release you on your own recognizance. Mr. Smart, you have to stay in contact with the assigned public defender
Yes, ma'am.
and make sure that you make all of your court dates.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I'd still ask for a no return to that racetrack.
Oh, yes, and no return to the racetrack located at 609 Lee Road.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Please step forward and tell me your name. All right, Mr. Williams, you've been charged with trespassing on a structure or conveyance. Are we resolving it?
Yes, Your Honor. The offer is an adjudication of guilt, credit time served, and no return to 10149 West Colonial Drive. Was it West Colonial? The Chipotle. And Mr. Williams would like to accept and enter plea of no contest.
All right, Mr. Williams, are you under the influence today of any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would impair your thinking? Is anybody forcing you to enter into this plea agreement today? Do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, entering into this plea agreement will subject you to deportation? Are you currently on probation for any other offense? On the charge of trespass and structure or conveyance, how do you plead? I'll accept your plea of no contest. I'm going to adjudicate you guilty. I'm going to give you credit for time served. Is Mr. Williams transient?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'll reduce the financial obligations to a civil judgment, and I'm going to require that you not return to the Chipotle located at 10149 West Colonial Drive. Please step forward and tell me your name. All right, Ms. Barlow, this was a failure to appear. Are we resolving the underlying case?
Yes, Your Honor, it's an adjudication, credit time served, and Ms. Barlow would like to accept and enter plea of no contest.
Madam Clerk, do you know what the credit time served is?
All right, and Ms. Barlow, I do see that this is your first driving while license suspended. I have to inform you that that is an enhanceable offense. If you receive 3 driving while license suspended in a 5-year period, your license can be revoked for 5 years as an habitual traffic offender. And also, it'll eventually carry a mandatory jail time of 10 days. So it's critical that you get your license squared away. It looks like you've got some failure to pays in Brevard and Orange. In Orange County, you have to deal with them in each of the counties where they're issued. In Orange County, you can get on a payment plan for all of them. I don't know what Brevard does. But you do have the ability, if you don't have a lump sum, you do have the ability to get on a payment plan. Okay. Are you under the influence today of any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would impair your thinking? Is anybody forcing you to enter into this plea agreement today? Do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, entering into this plea agreement will subject you to deportation? Are you currently on probation for any other offense? On the charge of driving while license suspended with knowledge, how do you plead? No contest. I'll accept your plea of no contest. I'm going to adjudicate you guilty. I'm going to give you credit for time served of 2 days. And I'm going to assess mandatory court costs. As to the financial obligations, I'll give you 1 year to pay it off. And please, in the court minutes, reflect that the court has no objection to this being included in a payment plan for other issues in Orange County. That way, whenever you go to the clerk, it won't be an issue.
Date of birth.
Please step forward and tell me your name.
Nautical Stokes.
All right, Ms. Stokes, and this is, are we going to resolve the underlying petty theft or no?
There's no offer, Your Honor.
Okay, so this is a failure to appear, capious, and the judge in the case set bond at $1,000. Please tell me your name, sir. Please tell me your name.
Mr. Baker, Robert.
All right, Mr. Baker, does he qualify?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Baker, you qualify for a public defender, so I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. You've been charged with, this is the alcoholic beverage open container, right? That's the only one we're here on?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes, with regard to him.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
Are we resolving that one today or no?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. I'll stay the bond at $250, and I'm not going to take any action on the 2023 CF 1330 Because there was a,
No, just a moment, Your Honor. I think he misunderstood. Okay.
actually, that bond was endorsed. The bondsman wanted to come off of that one, but I'm gonna ROR him on it, on the felony because there was a notice of non-filing.
Yes, Your Honor. He stated he did want to resolve the case. There was a misunderstanding.
Okay.
And Your Honor, do you have the case number for the city case?
I don't.
2023 MO 345AO.
Thank you. And the offer was a withhold of adjudication and credit time served.
Mr. Baker, are you under the influence today of any, thank you, drugs, alcohol, or medication that would impair your thinking? Is anybody forcing you to enter into this plea agreement today? Do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, entering into this plea agreement will subject you to deportation? Are you currently on probation for any other offense? On the charge of an open container, how do you plead?
No contest.
I'll accept your plea of no contest. I'm going to withhold adjudication. I'm going to give you credit for time served. I'm going to assess the mandatory court costs and filing fee, which I'll reduce to a civil judgment.
Thank you.
Then no action on the endorsed bond, right? Or the out on bond?
I'm RORing him on the endorsed bond because there was a notice of non-filing.
So just for clarification, you're actually not taking no action, you're just
I'm
releasing him
RORing him
ROR.
because otherwise he'd have to stay in until he posted another bond.
Okay, thank you.
So, okay.
Because the bondsman came off the bond.
So, do I, yeah, I don't know. Do I revoke the bond instead of ROR?
It
No, it's
was.
already been revoked.
Am I getting?
Right, he came off of it.
Right.
The bondsman came off of
Yeah,
it.
it was previously endorsed, so.
But he's not technically set to be seen on that case, so I don't know. Yeah, they.
Yeah,
they
when the
enforce-
bondsman
they
comes
enforce
off,
the
he stays
bond.
in jail.
I understand what you're saying. I'm gonna write it the way she just said it.
I don't-
Endorsed. She's setting the bond at R.
ROR.
I understand what she's saying.
That way he can get out of jail today and not have to wait. Please tell me your name, sir.
Joshua Hodge.
The offer to resolve Mr. Hodges' case, Your Honor, was an adjudication credit time served, and he would like to accept the state's offer and enter plea of no contest.
Mr. Hodge, thank you. Mr. Hodge, are you under the influence today of any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would impair your thinking?
No, ma'am.
Is anybody forcing you to enter into this agreement today?
No, Your Honor.
Do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, entering into this plea agreement will subject you to deportation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you currently on probation for any other offense?
No, Your Honor.
On the charge of disorderly conduct, how do you plead?
No contest.
I'll accept your plea of no contest. I'm going to adjudicate you guilty. I'm going to give you credit for time served and assess mandatory court costs, which I'll reduce to a civil judgment.
Thank you, ma'am. God bless.
What happened on Erica Harrison? Bonded? Thank you.
Please tell me your name.
Cordavius Love.
There wasn't a
Are we resolving Mr. Love's case today?
Your Honor, I was gonna ask for a pretrial release as he doesn't have any convictions on his record. I'm trying to keep it off.
All right, I'll appoint the public defender and find probable cause and release him under PTR.
Any conditions with the PTR, Your Honor?
Thank you.
No.
His number?
Please step forward and tell me your name.
Leon Perry.
And Mr. Perry was given an offer by the state of an adjudication of guilt, credit time served, and he would like to accept the state's offer and enter a plea of no contest. And Madam Clerk, could you please provide the case number?
2023 MO350AO.
Mr. Perry, are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would impair your thinking? Thank you.
No,
Is anybody forcing you to enter into this plea agreement today?
no,
Do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, entering into this plea agreement will subject you to deportation?
yes,
Are you currently on probation for any other offense?
no,
On the charge of open container, how do you plead?
get no contest.
I'll accept your plea of no contest. I'm going to adjudicate you guilty. I'm going to give you credit for time served and assess mandatory court costs, which I'll reduce to a civil judgment. Thank you, sir. Please step forward and tell me your name.
Franklin Williams.
And the offer to resolve Mr. Williams' case was an adjudication of guilt, credit time served, and he would like to accept and enter a plea of no contest. Madam Clerk, could I get that case number, please?
2023 MO351AO.
All right, Mr. Williams, are you under the influence today of any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would impair your thinking?
No,
Thank you. Is anybody forcing you to enter into this plea agreement today?
no, ma'am.
Do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, entering into this plea agreement will subject you to deportation?
Yes,
Are you currently on probation for any other offense?
no, ma'am.
On the charge of an open container, how do you plead?
No contest.
I'll accept your plea of no contest. I'm going to adjudicate you guilty of the offense. I'm going to give you credit for time served.
Okay.
I'm going to assess mandatory court costs, which I'll reduce to a civil judgment.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
All right, Mr. Burton, did he qualify? He does. You qualify for public defender. I'll appoint the office of the public defender to represent you. You've been charged with issue a citation for racing.
Yes, ma'am.
I find probable cause. I'll stay the bond at 500.
Did you?
No.
Oh.
He's on parole.
Huh?
Yeah, he's on parole. I don't know what for. I couldn't find it.
That's why I was like, I don't know where Mr. Burton went. Okay, thank you.
I don't know why he's on parole, but
Thank you.
unless it's from the 2008 murder. But
That might do it.
please state your name.
Desmond Duquette Bergeron.
All right, Mr. Bergeron, this is a failure to appear.
Yeah, I broke my leg in this.
It's okay. So the underlying charge is a driving while license suspended, and this would be your second within 5 years, and it would also result in 10 points in 12 months. And if you get 12 points in 12 months, you have a 30-day license suspension. But if you wanted to resolve the underlying charge today, it would be an adjudication of guilt, credit for time served, and mandatory court costs. But again, it would be your second Willis in 5 years. And the reason why that's significant is driving while license suspended is an enhanceable offense. If you receive 3 in a 5-year period, your license is revoked for 5 years as an habitual traffic offender, and it will also carry a mandatory jail sentence of a minimum of 10 days. So it is a serious offense, and these are tickets out of, I think it was Brevard or Seminole and Orange. So you have a combination of both. I didn't know if you wanted to resolve the underlying.
Is he a bond of Seminole?
$500.
Your Honor, I'd ask that you stay the bond,
Okay,
so we can try to help him.
I'll stay the bond. And then it'll be set for, oh, if he posts it, it'll be, have his, PTC date whenever he posts the bond. You're welcome.
Kaya Lee is the bond.
All right, I'll provisionally appoint the PD, find probable cause, stay the bond at 1,000, count 1, 100, count 2.
What's the name?
Kristen Baltham was a bond.
Please tell me your name, sir.
Benton Samuel.
All right, Mr. Ben, you do qualify for a public defender. I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. You've been charged with possession of meth. I find probable cause, I'll stay the bond, and I'll take no action on 2022 CF 14815. There was a notice of non-filing.
You stay the bond at 1,000, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Please state your name.
Frank Irwin Campos.
Mr. Campos, you qualify for a public defender. I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. You've been charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. I'm going to set bond in the amount of $5,000 and require that you have no contact with the victim and that you maintain a separate residence. I don't know if you live there or not, but if you do, you can return one time in the presence of law enforcement officers to retrieve your personal belongings. I'm going to require that you have no weapons or firearms, and if you have any, you must turn them into the Orange County Sheriff's Office within 4 hours of your release from incarceration.
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Please follow the officer out the blue door.
Have a great day.
Please tell me your name.
Malcolm Xavier Cooper.
All right, Mr. Cooper. You do qualify for a public defender. I'm going to appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. I reviewed the arrest affidavit, and I'll stay the bonds and require that you have no contact with the alleged victim and no return.
Yes, ma'am.
Please tell me your name.
Carlos Michael Copeland.
Mr. Copen, you do qualify for a public defender. I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. This is a warrant, so a judge previously found probable cause. I'll stay the bonds. And then in case number 2023 CF 21320, I know that it hasn't been filed on yet, but it's relatively new. And he posted bond on 2/24 and then got this current violation on 3/9. So in the 2023 CF 21320, I'm revoking the bonds and setting them at none. Please step forward and tell me your name.
Joshua Gottschall.
All right, Mr. Gottschall, you do qualify for a public defender. I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. We have two cases, or we're just here on the one, right? We're just here on 2023 CF 3325. Is that correct, or is he here on both of them?
These are both cases.
Okay, so both of them. So in one case, you were charged with grand theft third degree, and in the other case, you were charged with grand theft third degree and obstructing justice, hindering,
I'm only here for the second case.
well, I'll stay the bonds in the second case.
And he is here for both, Your Honor.
Okay.
All right, let me.
That's 313. This one is 313 too. Oh, this is done on Monday.
Oh, I know why. It's not imaged. I couldn't look at it. Yeah, I need to see the affidavit. It's not imaged in the computer. I didn't remember why I didn't have my. No, this is the second case. Okay. Yeah, they reference it, the earlier incident. All right, yeah, I'll find probable cause in both cases and I'll stay all the bonds. No return to the targets.
Your Honor, no return to any target?
No return to any target and no communication with the co-defendant. Please tell me your name. Does Mr. Griffin qualify? Yes. All right, Mr. Griffin, you do qualify for a public defender. I'll appoint the office of the public defender to represent you. You've been charged with possession of fentanyl, possession of cocaine, possession of drug paraphernalia. I'll find probable cause and stay the bonds.
Your Honor,
Yeah,
consider treat count 2 as a subsidiary. They did count 3, but on count 2, they kept it at 1,000 since it's all the same offense. Would ask that you reduce it.
do you have any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, so count 1 will be 1,000, and then we'll do count 2, 250, count 3, 250. And then the other, the 2023 CF 1549AO hasn't been filed on yet, so I won't take any appearance, I won't take any action.
Defense will waive, Your Honor.
All right, oh, those are, they're, okay, I'll appoint the public defender. I don't know if the public defender was previously appointed. Those are failure to appear warrants, and the judge set bond in them, so.
Yes.
Please state your name.
Trevor Harper.
All right, Mr. Harper, you do qualify for a public defender. I'll appoint the office of the public defender. This is a warrant, so a judge previously found probable cause. I'll stay the bonds as set by the judge who signed the warrant. 10,000, count 1, 5,000, count 2.
You have a,
My probation.
Please step forward and tell me your name.
DeAndre Holmes.
I have DeAndre Holmes is next.
Yes.
That's it.
I can't hear. I'm gonna
got
go
like a
with,
cold.
I'm gonna go with it's my sinuses that it's blocking my ears. That's my story and I'm sticking with it. All right, Mr. Holmes, you do qualify for a public defender. I'll appoint the office of the public defender to represent you. You've been charged with possession of methamphetamine and possession of cannabis less than 20 grams. I'll find probable cause. I'll stay the bonds. Please tell me your name.
Phillip Hudson.
All right, Mr. Hudson, you do qualify for a public defender. I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. You've been charged with disorderly conduct, possession of drug paraphernalia, and possession of cocaine. I'll set bonds at $1,000 on the possession of cocaine and $250 each on the disorderly conduct and the paraphernalia. Please state your name.
Jaquan Jones McCrary.
All right, Mr. Jones, you do qualify for a public defender. You've been charged with possession of a word I can't pronounce, reckless driving, no motor vehicle registration, and failure to have the required endorsement. I'll set bond in the amount of $1,000 on count 1 and $150 each on counts 2, 3, and 4.
Your Honor, what are you considering to be count 1, because it's 2 different cases?
Oh, there's 2 different cases. I have it all as one, sorry. Okay, so the possession of tetra cannabis will be 1,000. And then what, all the other 3 were in one?
Separate.
Oh, everything is separate?
So there was a warrant for the possession, Your Honor, and then the other charges are together.
I see it? Yes. Thank you. All right, so, okay, we'll do it separate then. The possession will be $250. And then I'll stay the bonds on the moving violations.
So you're staying all the bonds?
Yes. Works out to be about the same. Yeah. Please state your name.
Kareem Lane.
All right, Mr. Lang, you do qualify for public defender. I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender. You've been charged with trafficking. More than 10, but less than 200 grams. And I do see that it was tested, Nick tested and weighed in the affidavit, so I'll find probable cause. I'll stay the bond. Please state your name.
Alexis Laws.
All right, ma'am, you do qualify for a public defender. You've been charged with neglect of a child, great bodily harm. This is by a warrant, so a judge previously found probable cause. I'll stay the bond,
I don't have the amount.
5,000.
Your Honor, odd condition, but can it be a condition that she not have any minor customers?
Yes. But this was her daughter, though.
Stepdaughter.
Oh, it's her stepdaughter? Okay. So,
Can we do unsupervised, Your Honor?
well, she was getting her license back, and it was in the middle of doing the hair. But it was also unrelated because her shirt got wet and she was trying it. It's very convoluted. But, yeah, so I'll put that you cannot, yeah, I'm gonna require that you have no, that you don't do any, you don't have any minor customers.
Then on her open case, Your Honor, any action?
I'll revoke and double, so it'll be 2,000.
in pretrial diversion. Did they accept her? No? I had pretrial diversion, Your Honor.
I didn't see that. She
Oh.
said-
No, there's a, I know it says that on the sheet.
That's
but
what I saw.
There's a bond,
Okay, I just wanted to make.
yeah.
I think she was just referred.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, that's what I saw, but I.
Please state your name.
She wasn't accepted. She hasn't been accepted yet.
Neil. All right, Mr. Neal, you qualify for public defender. I'll appoint the office of the public defender to represent you. You've been charged with battery on a law enforcement officer. I find probable cause, and I'll stay the bond at $2,500. Please tell me your name, sir.
Mr. Shaw.
Mr. Shaw. Does he? Mr. Shaw, did you want to see if you qualify for a public defender to represent you in this matter?
Yes, ma'am. They never gave me an option.
Okay. Do you have any income?
No, ma'am.
All right, I'll find that you qualify. I'll appoint the office of the public defender to represent you. You've been charged with possession of meth. I reviewed the affidavit. I find probable cause. I'll stay the bond at 1,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Defense will waive.
Wait, don't we have to address
Oh,
this
wait,
one?
no, Kareem Tola is the,
It was a failure to appear capious, and the judge set it at no bond.
is that?
This was,
Your Honor, there was a, that's the case, right?
What?
so this defendant, Mr. Toller, he has been positively identified. His fingerprints have cleared. This warrant is not his. So we would be looking for it to just be ROR'd, so he can be released. This is not his warrant.
Okay.
He uses this as an alias. This belongs to the,
Would you be willing to put the name that the fingerprints did come back to on the record as well, please?
double check. I believe it's Edward Wallace, but let me double check. Yeah, it's Edward Wallace.
So the person that was arrested was Edward Wallace, but the warrant does not belong to Edward Wallace?
This warrant does not belong to him.
Okay, but the person gave the name of Kareem Toller, and Kareem Toller has a warrant?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, they didn't bring it.
But isn't Edward Wallace an alias of Kareem Toller?
Yes, Your Honor. He gave the name Kareem Toller, who has this warrant, but this is actually Edward Wallace. So this warrant does not belong to the defendant that we have in custody currently.
Yeah, but if Mr. Toller uses the name Edward Wallace,
Yeah, I don't understand. I apologize, Your Honor. We were sent an email maybe an hour before court, but it looks as though Edward Wallace uses the alias of both Danny Toller and Kareem Toller.
Yes, he has many aliases. But this Edward Wallace, this is not his warrant.
It's not his warrant, it belongs to someone else. I think that's why.
Yeah, it belongs to
They're
someone else.
specifying. So So I guess the fingerprints did not match the person.
Yes,
weren't belonging
that's,
to, Your Honor.
that's correct.
So the KPS is issued to Kareem Toller, and the person in custody is Edward Wallace?
That's correct, though he's booked under Kareem Toller as that is the name that he provided to law enforcement. But his fingerprints have returned, and his SID number does not match that of the individual whose warrant this actually is.
But if it's an alias, how do we know when he was Kareem Toller getting that KPS that he wasn't really Edward Wallace?
It's the fingerprint.
It's fingerprints, it's a state ID number.
Okay, all right.
They don't match, it doesn't match with that.
All right, RR. We're RRing Edward Wallace.
He's booked in Kareem Toller in the system.
Sir, please step forward and tell me your name.
Michael Lawrence Foisine.
All right, Mr. Voisin. You do qualify for a public defender. I'll appoint the office of the public defender to represent you. You've been charged with grand theft, third-degree motor vehicle. I'll find probable cause and stay the bond.
I don't have the bond on it.
1,000.
Your Honor, I believe he knew this victim, so I'd ask for no contact.
All right, and I'll require that you have no contact with the alleged victim. Please step forward and tell me your name.
Nedrick Wallace.
Mr. Wallace, you qualify for public defender. I'll appoint the office of the public defender to represent you. You've been charged with possession of meth and possession of cocaine. I'll find probable cause, and count 1, I'll stay the bond at 1,000, and I'll reduce count 2 to 150.
Ms. Hammett from the arraignment.
Okay, Ms. Hammett,
She just needs an opinion.
and so you're being arraigned for driving while license suspended. And were we gonna resolve it, or?
The offer from the state is an adjudication of guilt, credit time served. And Ms. Hammett would like to accept an enter plea of no contest, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Because I can.
Oh, I don't have a driving record. PTR, can you give me a driving
Yes,
record?
Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay. All right, it looks like this is your first driving while license suspended in several years. It looks like the last one was back in 2004. So the reason why that's important is driving while license suspended is an enhanceable offense. If you receive 3 in a 5-year period, your license can be revoked for 5 years as an habitual traffic offender. Also, if after 2, if you commit a third offense, there's a mandatory minimum sentence of 10 days in jail. So it's important that you understand that. All right, Ms. Hammett, are you under the influence today of any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would impair your thinking?
No.
Is anybody forcing you to enter into this plea agreement?
No.
Do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, entering into this plea agreement will subject you to deportation?
Yes.
Are you currently on probation for any other offense? On the charge of driving while license suspended, how do you plead?
No contest.
I'll accept your plea of no contest. I'm going to adjudicate you guilty of the offense. I'm going to give you credit for time served of 41 days. I'm going to assess mandatory court cost. As to the court cost, I'll give you 1 year to pay that off.
Okay.
And Ms. Gilbert? Okay.
Your Honor, actually, we're gonna enter a plea of not guilty. I see a note that was just put in there, that says incompetent to proceed.
Okay.
It was just put in there.
All right, Ms. Gilbert, this is your arraignment on trespass on property or resisting an officer without violence. You are already represented by the Office of the Public Defender, so we'll enter a plea of not guilty. In your case, will be set for a pretrial conference in Division 83 on,
April 3rd, 8:30, courtroom 6C.
I didn't, ma'am, could you repeat that? I have hard of hearing. I didn't hear what you said. I don't
Sure,
remember a
ma'am.
little bit of it.
It's going to be on your paperwork also.
There when I did.
Hold on.
Trial is scheduled for April 3rd at
I didn't ask for a trial. My attorney over there,
No, ma'am. It's a pretrial conference. It's the next step in the process.
of that, okay, I'm confused now because she's handling one case. Could you,
Yes, can I have a moment? Yes.
yeah, hold, she's gonna, Your Honor, she's handling a case that happened in, I am
Your Honor,
confident,
she's-
1913.
Okay.
Trespassing, that's what I'm talking to you.
Okay, ma'am, all the dates are gonna be on your paperwork.
People prosecuting me for what?
Your Honor, Your Honor, I apologize for the confusion prior to the court realizing that I had went back to discuss the plea offer, so I apologize.
It's okay.
Yeah, they just put the note in, so when I did the arraignments, it didn't show me incompetency, so.
All right, I believe that's all we have. All right, thank you. We're off the record.